Recording. Record. Make sure that one is recording. Alright, so I'm going to edit all this, so don't worry about if you misspeak or say something you don't want on camera.
Okay.
Do you want your name said?
Like my whole name?
Whatever you want. We can do no name. What is your Cash App name?
My Cash App name. It's LTBTiresSlashed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
My name's Lawrence.
Okay. We'll just stick to your first name then.
I'll take your recommendation on that. I'm not sure I want to be a celebrity. I'm
Well,
not trying to.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to use your last name.
Yeah.
But just whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
What's important.
I'm not here for any kind of self-promotion or anything, really. Some of the other video that I saw that was obviously taken by some of the video people that are on the other side made me look bad and said some things about me that weren't true.
Yeah.
You know, and I really kind of want to set the record straight on a couple of things.
Okay.
You know, that's
very reasonable.
I don't like untruths being told about me and people to think stuff about me that's not true.
That's reasonable. That's what there's a video going around today about Joe Biden decades ago grilling Justice. I can't remember his name. He's the current the African American male justice right now.
Oh yeah, Kennedy or shoot. Anyway, yeah.
But he is most likely going to be grilling Biden when Biden goes before the Senate for either the fraud or his son's their connection.
Wow.
All right, let me start here. So, can you put your hand in front of your face so I can have a timer? Okay. This is the Villain Report. We are here with Lawrence, a man that had his tires slashed, his license plate ripped off his car, and surrounded by Antifa for showing up at a political rally to show his support for the president and his concern about what he believes and what many of us believe is going on with the vote. So, first off, Lawrence, what brought you out to the rally that day?
Well, like you said, I'm a Trump supporter, and I have been all along. And I feel that I've seen enough evidence of irregularities in this election that I'm concerned that this election has been stolen or is attempted to be stolen right now. And it's not just one county in Florida. It's not just one state. I mean, it seems to be widespread, and there's a lot of different variations of it, but it's so much that I'm terrified of what it means if we can have a rigged election in this country. And look, if it's a fair and honest election, even if my candidate is the loser, I can accept that. But if we don't have an honest and fair election, we don't have a country. What do we have? We don't even have a country. What does it even mean? So that's why I was at a Stop the Steal rally specifically. And that's what brought me out there.
So why the attention is kind of on you at the moment is your tires got slashed and you got surrounded by a mob and you were standing up on top of your truck and you looked pretty reasonably concerned while that was happening. What did it feel like to have that mob surrounding you?
Scary. For sure scary. And you can see as I'm shouting back and forth with these people, and I mean, I'm sure people have seen the video clips and stuff. I'm not the type of person that's going to cower down and, you know, hide in the corner. So when I feel threatened, I get aggressive, you know. But yeah, it was scary to be surrounded like that. And I've been out to some rallies before over the last couple of years, but I've never actually been surrounded by the mob like that. That was a new experience, and it was scary.
Can you describe how it went from you just being at a protest to you on the back of your truck getting surrounded by a mob of rioters?
Yeah. Well, I did make a couple of bad choices that day. earlier I had, my truck was parked further down, and I was getting ready to leave. I was actually in my truck leaving, and I was pulling up in front of the Capitol there, and just then this whole crowd of these BLM or Antifa or whatever they were just out in the middle of the street. They were just coming around the corner. And I've seen what happens when people drive through these crowds sometimes. And I'm afraid of that happening. And sort of in a quick panic moment, there was an empty parking space, and I just whipped into the parking space. Well, now my truck's right in front of the Capitol with the other, like, Patriot people's trucks. But mine's kind of further down, and my son was with me. We jump out of the truck, lock the doors, and kind of hustle back over to the Patriot group that was still there. And the cops, there wasn't very many of them there at the moment. They kind of tried to form a line, and then these people were just, the crowd just came in. But you could just walk around, like there wasn't enough cops there to really keep everybody separated. So I'm kind of worried about my truck and not thinking very clearly. And like my sign and my flag and stuff was in the back, and I'm thinking, oh man, are they going to burn my truck down? Like I should have just took the chance driving through. Maybe,
what was the sign and the flag that you had in the back?
Well, actually, my flag was in the back seat at the time. I had taken it off, but I had a flagpole that had a Trump flag, and I had made a sign that said, "Cheating is stealing, not winning." That's what my sign that I had made was, and I had that on a pole all day long. But earlier, I put it in the back of the truck. I was tired of carrying it around. And I was still there because I was waiting. My son was with me earlier in the day, and then he had to go work downtown, and then he got off at 5. So I was waiting for him to get off work and come back, and then we were leaving to go home. So anyway, I'm there. We're over by the Patriots. The crowd has come now, and they're surrounding my truck, and now I'm worried about my truck and my property. So my next bad decision is I walked around through the crowd and got over near where my truck was. My son followed me. And some shouting matches kind of ensued. I'm not sure, honestly, I'm not sure how that got started. One guy had his camera in my face, and so I was kind of being a smart ass with him. And one thing led to another, and I ended up climbing up over the back and getting in the back of my truck. At the moment, I'm surrounded by the crowd, and they're coming in more and more. They're seem like they're focusing on me now, right? Or at least some of them. So I get up in the back of my truck, which it was more like just an instinct to jump up in there. But then I've got at least like some kind of space around me. My son walks around the passenger side of the truck, and I'm trying to make sure he's okay. Because I'm sure everybody can have seen the longer versions of the videos. I was armed. I don't want to use it. Last thing I want to do. But my son's not, and I know he's not, and he's there, and the crowd's all around him too. So I'm trying to keep an eye on him. I'm trying to scan the whole crowd. Anyway, that's how I ended up in the back of the truck.
It's very, very hard to take in all the information necessary in a situation like that. When you have a mob around you, you're going to be going into, like, I think, a little bit of kind of shock. You're going to shun some of your senses away to the more specific senses that need to be paid attention to at the moment. So you're not going to, I'm sure you don't know how many people are around you, or which of them seem like threats and which of them didn't seem like threats. And it's hard to take in that data in an environment that intense. Yeah,
you're trying to scan around. You're trying to look to see who's maybe going to attack me, who has weapons or not. Yeah. But you're almost like in a tunnel vision, yeah, too, at the time. Yeah. Like, it's a scary, scary situation to be in, yeah, you know?
So you said that you were kind of being provocative when they were right in your face. I mentioned a guy had a camera right in your face. What did he say to you?
Yeah, I don't remember if he said anything, but he had his phone, and he was, like, right in my face. Yeah. And I've heard stories about these people trying to, like, figure out people's identity, doxing or whatever, and getting them fired from their jobs, things like that, getting them, you know, in trouble. And I don't really do social media, so I'm not going to get attacked there. Mm-hmm. But I don't like that anybody tries to do that. So I kind of started, and I'm thinking, is that what he's doing? So I kind of smarted off to him. I was like, did you get a good shot? Did you get what you wanted? And he just shoves it more in my face. And then I think I said, do you want my name? Do you want my name too? And then he was like, what is your name? What is your name? What is your name? I go, you guys want to come to my house? He goes, do you want us at your house? And then I think I said, fuck you, Matt, Yeah. And somebody else was asking me, like, what are you doing in this city? Are you even from here? Something like that. And I said, fuck yeah, I am.
Which is ironic because a large population of that crowd that day, the Antifa Black Lives Matter crowd, was from Portland.
Yeah, I don't think they were from Salem. So I said, you're damn right. He goes, you live in Salem? I go, you're damn right I do. And then he's like, okay. And I'm like, what was that all about?
Which is also weird because I can understand that point of view. Some people don't like people coming out of town to their small town for a rally on either side. But this is the state capital of Oregon.
It is the capital.
That's why everybody was there. It's the capital. It's every Oregonian's capital.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, a person's right to protest is a nationwide right. I should have a right to have a rally or a protest in any city in this not to riot, not to damage property, and not to assault people. You shouldn't have the right to do that anywhere except for if you're being attacked. Mm-hmm. But I don't see what if you live there or not has to do with it. A rally or a protest is a right nationwide. Yeah. And I support that, even if I disagree with your point of view. I do.
So I thought it was interesting that they targeted you that day. I never met you until I went up to you and spoke to you after your tires were slashed. But I was filming you. My live stream cut out for signal issues, but I did get it on camera, on my backup camera. And I was just curious why they picked you, because I didn't see you weren't in one of the vehicles that just had a dozen flags flying over it to draw attention. You weren't carrying an assault rifle. I didn't even notice. I don't know if you were open carrying your pistol or yeah. So you were concealed carry.
Yeah.
So you weren't standing on that. From what I've spoken to you, you're not a Proud Boy and you're not a militia member. No. And not that those people deserve any of that. But I was looking at you and I was like, okay, he's not a Proud Boy who are out there to fight and stand up for their beliefs, and they don't care who targets them, and they don't care how much attention they draw. That you're not a militiaman out there in combat tactical clothing with an assault rifle on your chest. You weren't open carrying, and your truck wasn't covered in flags. I could not understand why they picked you, and it was simply because you were the one they first came upon, and you were by your truck, and you were one of the first people. But it really bothers me because you come off, you were presented as that day the average Joe American, just coming out to express your political views, which is something our country was very, very founded. Something our country has been founded on to have the freedom of expression, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of speech. And for them to come around and slash your tires, like, Americans relate with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what damages did you incur from that event?
Well, they slashed my two front tires, which were almost brand new tires. Those tires had like less than 2,000 miles on them. And they ripped my front license plate off. Mm-hmm. And that's, as far as I know, that's all. I mean, there might be a scratch or something, but it's kind of an older truck with a bunch of scratches in it anyway, so I don't know what else there was.
And then you weren't able to drive home that night?
No, and I couldn't get a tow truck because there was protesting going on and no tow trucks would come.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had two rims that fit my truck with two old spare tires on them on the side of my garage. Uh-huh. So I had my wife and my other son load those up and my jack and tools and bring them down, and I was able to change both tires and at least get the thing home later that night. I think I got home at 9:30, 10 o'clock.
In the evening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you able to change your tires while the rioters and protesters were still out there?
No. By the time all that happened, the police had kind of pushed them back, and they kind of, at some point, they all just kind of went down the road, and There was a few of the police still there, and then pretty soon they were all gone. And after a while, we were just sitting there by ourselves. Yeah. And a couple of the Patriot group came by, and I appreciated it. Like, they drove by a couple times in their pickup truck and was like, you still okay? Everything's okay? I appreciated them kind of like checking up on me, but eventually they were all gone too. And I'm like, well, we're just here. And I saw a couple cars like pull up and park, and somebody would come running over and get in the car. And I don't know if those were with them and they were just meeting up and getting their ride out of there or whatever. But I mean, I was still like pretty nervous. I'm like, is a group of these guys going to come back now that I'm here and I'm all alone and the cops are gone? Yeah. Luckily that didn't happen, you know. And I didn't want to leave my truck there and deal with it in the morning, because the tow place said we could get you towed out of there in the morning. And I'm like, well, are they going to come over here and find the truck and me gone and just like light it on fire and burn it down? I can't leave it here, yeah. You know, even if I have to drive out of here on the rims, I'm driving out of here, you know. Yeah. So that's...
What would you think if it wasn't you and you were watching this on the streams or on one of the news networks and you saw the footage of just an average Joe standing on the back of his truck and his tires slashed and not looking like a very big provocateur or anything like that, just average Joe America getting his property destroyed just for coming out and giving his point of view on political stuff?
Well, what I would think it's wrong, for sure. It's not right that I have to suffer property damage or injury to myself like you have and other people have, solely because I have a different political belief than somebody else. Yeah. I mean, if that's going on, that's not America. You know, we have freedom of expression and opinion, and we're not supposed to suffer damages because of our thoughts and our ideas, even if they're horrible, ugly thoughts. If there's some horrible, like terrible KKK person, I'm not going to go burn their house down. I'm just going to say, that's a horrible, disgusting person. Stay away from them. Like, let them be. Like, nobody, just ignore them, you know? I'm not going to go try to hurt them.
I agree. And more and more in this country, we're seeing that. Far more, in my opinion, on the left is attacking people, getting them fired from their jobs, trying to destroy their property, get them evicted from their homes, just trying to take them out of the economy and out of the society just for disagreeing.
Right.
I understand if people have radical beliefs and they're acting on those radical beliefs and hurting people or threatening to do so, mm-hmm. then there's a direct threat and an actual harm.
And people should stand up against it.
Yeah, but words?
Right.
What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you say the wrong words now and you're in big trouble.
Yeah. What would you say to Americans that want to come out to these things and they want to show their voice and show that there's numbers of people that don't agree with what's going on in certain ways, but are scared of getting hurt or having financial damage? A lot of people in our country, you slash 2 of those tires, depending on what car it is, it's like $500 there. Yep. And then you still their license plate. You can't drive around without license plate, so you got to go get a new one. You're probably gonna have to pay for it. Yep. A lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, and that will cause them severe difficulty in their life, and they're taking care of their family, paying their rent.
Yeah, if they only have one car. Mm-hmm. And you know, I mean, tires could be expensive. Mine's like a 3/4 ton truck, and truck tires aren't cheap, man. It's not like a tire for a Honda. Yeah. It's a whole different category. Couple of things. I was in a very scary situation, and I'm happy. I'm not happy that any of it happened, but I'm glad that it was only tires. I'm glad my son didn't get hurt. I'm glad I didn't get hurt, and I'm glad I didn't have to hurt anyone. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I do carry a gun. I am licensed, but I don't want to shoot anybody. Nobody wants to do that. Yeah. No reasonable person wants to do that. Yeah. You know, so I would say, even though it was that scary of a situation, and I'm glad it wasn't worse, it actually wasn't worse. They didn't beat me up. They didn't all jump up in the back of the truck and smash my head in. So I got lucky. So I would say, just because this mob surrounds you doesn't mean they're going to beat you up. But it certainly can, and it has happened to a lot of people. So I would tell people that are looking at that, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to beat you up, but it could happen, and it has happened. It's happened to you. But more importantly, I don't know why there's not more patriots out there. There was a lot of people out there earlier in the day, and a lot of people had gone home. Mm-hmm. I probably should have went home earlier myself. But there was maybe a couple hundred of these people. What if there was 1,000 patriots out there? And I know there's 1,000 patriots that maybe want to be out there, and maybe they're afraid. I don't know. So what would these people do if there was 1,000 of us out there? Would they be as aggressive? And I'm not saying, well, there's 1,000 of us, we can beat all you up. That's not what I mean. I just mean, like, would they be as aggressive if we had more support, more people out there?
Yeah, they're going to be running up and slashing people's tires if there's 5,000 patriots standing in front of the Capitol building.
Right.
That's what I've been disappointed on a lot of the turnouts of the certain events, and sometimes it's not good PR. People don't get informed enough in time, or what the motive is, or what the event is. But sometimes it just, for some reason, people don't show up. I thought for sure that this event would have a lot of people show up, because I am seeing large numbers of people that are upset about what's going on with the election and the strangeness about it, and they don't like feeling how the media and all the politicians are gaslighting everyone and saying that they're saying there's nothing to see here. But and we can look into and investigate all the little things that we're seeing, and who knows? Maybe it's just a coincidence and there's dozens and dozens and dozens of strange things happening and they all have an explanation. But the fact that we're all seeing these and we're being told not to pay attention.
Right. Maybe it's just a bunch of weird anomalies. Yeah. I mean, it is 2020, right? That's the big joke. Anything can happen in 2020.
Yeah. So I thought this event, there's so many people focus on what's going on with the election. I thought that a lot of people, and it was a peaceful event. It wasn't an event that was surrounding, like, promoting a militia or promoting any provocative group. It was a nationwide event at the Capitals, and I thought more people would come out to it.
I wish there was. And in fact, I filmed a little video on my phone earlier in the day, and I said, oh, there's quite a bit of people out here. And I think right at the end I said, I really wish there was more. And then I turned the video off, you know. And I felt that a lot of times. I've been to a rally where it was we were facing some like gun legislation, new gun legislation in Oregon, and there was a pretty good turnout. But I'm like, you know, if you just look at the number of concealed carry licenses in Oregon, if you look at the number of hunting licenses in Oregon, there should be 10,000 people out here. Where is everybody? Yeah. You know, and I don't know. Like, are we all busy? We have families. We have work. We're doing stuff. Maybe it's just these people on the other side don't have anything better to do. I don't know. You know, they certainly seem to have enough time to be out there every darn night doing this stuff. Yeah. I can't be out there every night or every day. Yeah. You know, I don't even make it to every rally myself. Sometimes I don't find out about them. Like I wake up and I'm like, oh, there was a rally yesterday. So you're right about that. Maybe there's not good organization or good notification of it, and maybe it's social media, like, bans the pages or whatever when people are trying to organize. I don't know how very good how all that stuff works, but.
Well, the reason I wanted to come out and interview you is because I was upset that I saw that happen to you. It was just that you looked like the last guy in the crowd that was going to provoke or anything. They just sought out the most innocent looking person and slashed his tires and terrorized you. Yeah. I'm going to try to reach out to some different organizations and try to get the word out about this. And you set up a Cash App so that we can see if the Patriots will help you recover your financial losses on this. So, what is the name of your Cash App?
The name of the Cash App is LTBTiresSlashed.
All right, Cash App. It's LTBTiresSlashed.
Yeah, it's all lowercase, one word.
All right, we'll write that out on the video too. So, just all you patriots out there, I know a lot of you constantly say that people need to come out these rallies, but a lot of them aren't people that come out. They're wanting other people to come out. But if you're not able to come out and stand up for what you believe in, for one reason or another, maybe you can help people that do, and help him recover his losses on it. 2 tires, a license plate. Luckily it was nothing else. But I'm sure if everybody that's going to see this video just gave $1 to the Cash App, it would more than cover his loss. So just encourage you guys, if you're able to, just put a little in the Cash App to cover the losses. Americans need to stick together, in my opinion, and people are coming out and speaking for what you believe in. Maybe help them when they suffer a loss of some sort due to that.
I would greatly appreciate the support. It would warm my heart that Patriots care. Yeah. And it would be very helpful to get my tires replaced and fix my license plate. I have absolutely no desire to make extra money. Mm-hmm. So if there's money left over, if people do donate, and I so much appreciate it, if there's money left over, I want to donate the leftover money to some other good cause. Okay. Or maybe some other patriot that needs help. Just keep it rolling to some other good thing. I have no desire to make money off this incident. It was a terrible, scary incident, and I'm not trying to profit from it. That's terrible.
I think it's even more of a chance for patriots to just stand up for each other. And people that love this country and love the freedoms we have, to say, we as a group are not going to let you terrify those of us that can come out and speak from doing so. Yeah. So.
Or I could use all the extra money to buy a bunch of old bald tires and put them on my truck every time I go out. So they're slashing old bald tires.
He's ready to go.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah, you just got another set. Like, oh, you slashed them again? Oh, well.
Yeah. I got 4 spares in the back ready to go. No, it's not. Look, I went over there. I put myself in this situation. I went over to where my truck was when the crowd was gathering, and I was worried about my truck, and I was wondering, is there a way I can get out of here? I have my son with me, and I got up in the truck and some yelling and shouting, and I participated in that. And they're yelling racist and this and that, whatever they're yelling, and I'm yelling, you're an idiot, or I don't know what I was saying, but what are we doing? I mean, it's all childish behavior. What are we, 3-year-olds? You know, it's pretty childish. I wasn't accomplishing anything. They weren't accomplishing anything except for just making each other mad. And I fed into that.
Yeah, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt here, though, because I think you're being too harsh on yourself, because you did not come out to the rally and start accosting people. You got surrounded by a mob and reacted emotionally, which is seemingly reasonable to me.
Right.
A mob of people that these groups have been videoed all over the country, attacking people, destroying cars, burning buildings. So I'm gonna give you a pass, bro.
Yeah. You're right. It's just hard to look at the scene afterwards when people filmed it and you watch yourself being filmed. You see it from a different perspective when you see yourself on film. Mm-hmm. And you go, man, I could have handled that better.
Yeah, but
right.
Also, I know definitely. I've been out there for months, and a lot of times the way you experience something in real life is very, very, very different than the camera shows.
Yeah.
Sometimes an event seems really tense for me in real life, and the camera does not capture any of that. But other times, a situation seems pretty mellow, and I'm just carefree, and then I go back and look at the video, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was not aware of how dangerous that situation was.
Yeah.
But the camera is not the same as your eyes, so
right.
Wouldn't be so hard on that.
Well, I would like to clear the air on just a couple of things, if I can. Okay. For one thing, it should be obvious, but I'm not a racist in any way. And I think at first when I walked over there, they were saying something about racist Trump supporter or something. And I think I threw my arms up before I'd even got in the back of the truck. And I go, yeah, I'm a racist. Okay, I'm a racist. Is that what you guys want? Yeah. I was being sarcastic. But I'm sure somebody got a clip of me on camera going, I'm a racist.
Yeah. People are more reasonable than that. Well,
yeah.
Well, the reasonable people understand that. So,
right.
And many of us know that most people that throw that word around and many other isms around so casually, all it means is person I disagree with.
Right.
So
right. When I was up in the back of the truck, one of the people from the crowd began to climb over the back of the truck, like they were going to try to get up in the back of the truck. And that's probably the clip that you see, one of the short clips that was on Twitter. And I screamed very aggressively, get the fuck off, you know. And what I saw was a person coming up onto the back of my truck, and I saw the top of a helmet. And I mean, right then, it's a super tense situation. And I screamed very aggressively. And the person looked up, and it was a woman, and she said something like, oh, I'm sorry, and she got down. And I stepped back. Then the crowd starts yelling at me, you know, you disrespected a woman. You can't talk to a woman like that. Well, I didn't even know it was a woman. Yeah, I just saw a person.
That's unreasonable. There was a rioter dressed in riot outfit. She had a riot uniform on, getting onto your van. Your truck. It doesn't matter if she's a woman or a man. She's disrespecting you. She's disrespecting your property. You're surrounded by a mob. No,
right?
That's just the crowd. Just they're going to use anything they can to manipulate the situation and try to make the other side look bad.
Right?
Who cares what you screamed at her? She was in a battle gear, getting onto your car.
Right. And even if it is a woman, you're not supposed to climb into other people's property.
Yeah.
So
and you don't know. It doesn't matter if she's a woman. If she pops out a can of Bear Mace and sprays you in the face, then it's going to hurt just as much as a man did.
A woman can be dangerous.
Yeah.
As a man can.
I wouldn't feel bad about that.
Yeah. I just wanted to. They were accusing me of something that wasn't really accurate. I just wanted to clear that up because if some of the video that I saw, you know, I'm like, I didn't know it was a woman. I just saw a person coming at me.
It just kind of shows your character a little bit that you're worried about that because honestly. I don't care if it was a woman or not.
Yeah,
but you're still you have your values and they're so strong with you that even a rioter that's getting up on your truck, possibly going to attack you, you're like, oh, did I speak to them too meanly?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess. Well, you know, I mean, it's a defensive tactic. If somebody's coming at you in a dangerous situation, one of the first things you should do is use a loud, aggressive voice to try to back them off without any kind of physical confrontation. So I shouted very aggressively.
Good.
And it worked. She got down.
Good.
I mean, it was
nothing wrong.
Yeah. And there is a section of the video where I put my hand on my gun. Mm-hmm. And I want to clarify that because in the longer video that I saw, the guy who did the video said I was drunk. Now, in the back of my truck, there's a bunch of debris. I got like chunks of wood and boards, and my flagpole thing was like diagonal in there. And I'm wearing my rubber boots because it was raining that day, and my rubber boots are kind of sloppy. So I'm kind of stumbling around on all that stuff. Yeah. Plus, my adrenaline is just through the roof. And the guy had went and told the cops that I was drunk and I was getting ready to pull my gun out. I had not had any alcohol that day. I do drink alcohol occasionally, but I don't drink alcohol when I'm out in public. I have no alcohol that day. Yeah. So that's just a complete lie. And you can see all the crap I'm stumbling around on. But what had happened was, at the point in time when I reached for my gun, is right when the first tire was being slashed. And my son was standing right by the passenger side of the truck. And I don't have a clicker. Like, I have to use the key to unlock the door. So I couldn't, like, hit a button and let him in or, you know, anything like that. And I'm trying to keep an eye on him. The rest of the crowd, I'm scanning around. And I hear, I believe it was my son yelling at me that hey, they're slashing your tire. Well, he's like 2 feet from the front tire.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, you're kind of acting on instinct, but I know now there's a dangerous weapon. Like anything sharp enough to slash a tire, sharp enough to hurt a person really bad. And my son's right there, and I know he's unarmed. That's when I turned that way and got my hand on my gun. And it was because of the potential threat to my son or to me. It wasn't because of the tire. I would never shoot a person for slashing my tire. I just want that to be clear. Yeah. And they made it sound like, hey, he's going to pull his gun out because they cut his tire. No, I'd like to stop you from slashing my tire, but shooting you is not the appropriate way to do that, and I would never do that. I thought there may be a potential threat to my son, and when I looked and got a good view, he was still just standing there, nobody was bothering him, and I turned back around and I took my hand back off my gun and let my shirt go back down. So I wanted to clarify that, because the one guy that made the video, he went running over to the cops and said, this guy's drunker than shit, and he's getting ready to pull his gun out because they're cut his tire or something like that. And I'm like, dude, that is such a manipulation of what was really going on there.
Yeah, sometimes they just flat out lie, and sometimes they're just delusional and they just don't see reality.
Yeah.
But what they say is nonsense, and nobody takes them seriously for the things they say. It's the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah.
And they are just accosting people and accusing people of those vile things with no evidence, no reason whatsoever, over and over and over and over again. And the only reason they do that is because they know that it's going to bother people like you. It wouldn't bother a person without race, without virtue. So if a person is racist, it's probably not going to bother them that you call them racist. Right. But if a person's virtuous and has values, and you're accosting them and calling them the most despicable thing you can think of, like, yeah, that's going to bother a lot of people. But, right.
I've done bad things, and I've paid the price for them in my life. Not horrible things, but I've made mistakes and paid the price. But I hate getting accused of things that aren't true, that I didn't do. I mean, that's the worst. I'd rather do something bad and pay the price for it than be accused of something that I didn't do, or I'm not, or whatever. I mean, that's terrible. Yeah. So yeah, I'll tell you what. One of the big reasons is that I appreciated you reached out to me to try to see if we could get some help for my tires and things and some support. I also reached out to you because, like, I think when you talked to me on Sunday, you could tell that I was pretty freaked out. Yeah, I was really, yes. And like, I woke up in the morning and somebody who I knew that was at the rally earlier that day and had gone home early had seen the video clip on Twitter. And when I woke up in the morning, I had a text from him, and it had the Twitter link, and it said, "You are famous." And I saw that it was, can I say the guy's name whose Twitter it was?
Yeah.
It was Andy No.
Andy No.
And I know he's got a pretty big following, right? Yeah. So when I saw that I was on there, I'm like, oh my God, who's seeing this, right? Like, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be, yeah. It was just a scary situation, and how bad does it look, and how did it really look, and what. So then I'm like, oh man, that's kind of scary, right? Because I'm not like a public person. And then I go and I turn on YouTube on my computer, and I put in Salem, Oregon, and like today or whatever, so you can see the newest video. And I scroll down, and on YouTube you just see the still shot before you play a video. And I see, and it's me in the back of my truck like that on the still shot. And I'm just going, I mean, my heart sunk. I got a sick feeling in my stomach. I'm like, oh my God, this is everywhere. Yeah. It's really not. When I watched I watched the video, and that's the guy that said I was drunk and whatever. That's his video. And it had like 39 views. And I'm like, okay, well, nobody. I think it's up to 100 now. And I don't really care, but I'm like, oh, okay, it's only 30 views. So actually nobody saw it, right? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know where else it is. There was a lot of cameras around. I'm sure it's in other places. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, when I talked to you that day, I was sick all morning. I had a knot in my stomach. I think there's like when you have too much adrenaline, like you feel sick later, right? You know, and that was a major shot of adrenaline. I felt sick to my stomach. I had to go for a long walk around the neighborhood just to like feel better. Yeah. So you know, man, it was scary, and the fact that it was out there in the public and people were seeing it, it was really, I didn't know how to take that in. And I appreciate you reaching out to me and helping me feel better about that. Yeah. And like I said, I kind of wanted to do this interview just to like clear up a couple of things that were said about me that weren't true. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
All right, man. To close up on this, do you have anything that you want to say to the American people watching?
Boy, I didn't think about that ahead of time. Yeah, listen. Honestly, we have to know the truth about our elections. This election particularly, if we do not have fair and honest, legitimate elections, I don't know what we have. We don't have anything. We have something. We don't have a country. We don't have a political system. If it's manipulated and it's cheated, then it's all fake. We have to live under it, and we have to live with the consequences, but it's not real, and it's not the will of the people. It's not what the Constitution says, and that's not what this country is, and it ceases to be this country at that point. Like really think about that. How important is it? I don't know how to fix the elections. I've seen things like blockchain voting, maybe, stuff like that, and I don't know what the answer is, but man, we have to fix it. We have to be able to trust our elections, or we can't trust anything. That's one thing. The next thing, look, I really wish the rioting and the fighting and the stuff would stop. I believe in the United States of America, and I love this country. And I will always stand against communism and socialism and those kinds of ideas, because I've seen throughout history all over the world what that does. And it's the people who always suffer under those systems. The regular, everyday people like you and I that suffer the most in those systems. They're either killed or afterwards they suffer, right? I will never stand for that in my country, you know. So I will always rally against it. I will speak out against it. I will stand against it, whatever I have to do. So I think people really need to consider what it is these angry people are trying to like promote, or what they're asking for, what they say it is they really want. But I support their right to speak out about what they believe in and to have protests. But you can't damage property and you can't hurt people. That's a riot. That's not a protest, you know. And to be fair, there's been violence on both sides, you know. I mean, there have been people on the Patriot side that get carried away and have gotten in scuffles with some of these people. I mean, it has gone both ways, but the majority of it has been from the other side, the vast majority. And on Saturday, they came over to our rally. I didn't go wandering over to wherever they were gathering and try to like go bother them. They came to us. We were having a rally and they came over to us. So I don't know why we can't have conversations with each other. And maybe I have a better understanding of what you think or how you feel. Maybe you have a better understanding of what I think, what I feel, what I'm really all about. But if we're just yelling and screaming at each other, racist, communist, it's just 3-year-olds on the playground. It accomplishes nothing. Yeah. It accomplishes nothing, and we're never going to solve any problems that way. Either side, none of us are going to get what we want that way. It's crazy. So
I agree with a lot of that, man. And I appreciate the fact that you were one of the Patriots that came out to just show your voice. I think that people should come out and show their voice, whatever they believe, when they want to come out and want to create events like that. We'll put your Cash App up, and hopefully we'll get those tires taken care of for you.
And if you are a Patriot, you need to be out there. We need more. We need more of you out there. I know you're out there. I know you're all there. I know you're all watching this like I am. I know you're following the election like I am. We've got to get together, and we've got to be out there. If you want to stand against these things like I do, I need you by my side.